Have you ever thought that a seemingly harmless glass of water could be the reason you get out of breath every time you climb a few stairs? Many people over 60 start to feel their legs weakening, getting cramps easily, and walking unsteadily, but they can't find a clear cause. Doctors say bones aren't broken, muscles aren't damaged, so why do just a few steps make you want to sit down? The truth is, some drinks that seem refreshing, for alertness, or good for digestion, are silently promoting inflammation, causing muscle atrophy, and drawing calcium out of your bones every day. You don't need to drink liters of it, just maintaining a daily habit is enough to create a long sliding snowball effect, muscle inflammation, loss of balance, and ultimately falls. But this isn't irreversible. Good news, you don't need to give everything up or do anything complicated. Just correctly identify the drinks that are weakening your body, understand the underlying mechanisms, and make a few simple daily changes. You can absolutely improve your leg strength in just 2-3 weeks. Less fatigue, fewer cramps, steadier standing, and lighter steps. In this video, we'll go through each of the most common drinks, from sweet to spicy, from familiar to seemingly harmless, to clearly see what the silent leg drainer is that you never suspected. And finally, you'll learn the simplest way to regain steadiness when walking. So what, after all, is the first culprit draining your legs? Culprit number 1, sugary drinks, cola, soda, sweet tea, energy drinks. These are the seemingly familiar beverages, sweet, refreshing, convenient, but they're hiding a burden that the body of someone over 60 can hardly handle well anymore: added sugar. Try to remember those hot days when you just walked back from the market and your hand immediately reached for a cold can of soda. Sweet, cool, refreshing. A cooling sensation everyone is familiar with. Or those afternoons after a meal, a glass of sweet tea poured, like an indispensable habit. These drinks, soda, cola, energy drinks, or bottled sweet tea, are everywhere. But what not everyone knows is that they can be one of the reasons your legs get weaker every day, losing strength when climbing stairs and doubling your risk of falls in old age. Actually, this isn't just theory. Large studies from the US and Europe have shown that regularly drinking sugary beverages can weaken the muscle-bone vascular system, especially in the legs. But before diving into the numbers, we need to understand what happens inside the body when we drink a can of soda. When you drink a sugary beverage, the sugar immediately causes blood glucose levels to spike. The body has to release a lot of insulin to get sugar into the cells. If this happens once, it's fine, but if you drink soda every day, every week, and for many months, that will create a condition called chronic muscle inflammation. Medical experts call this silent inflammation because it doesn't cause immediate pain or fever, but it damages the body little by little. This chronic inflammation activates harmful substances in the body like IL-6 and TNF-alpha, two inflammatory molecules commonly found in older adults. They reduce the ability to build and repair muscle fibers and also inhibit a very important process called mTOR. This process is like the chief engineer that rebuilds muscle after every activity. When mTOR is shut down, muscle isn't regenerated. Every time you climb stairs, get up from a chair, or walk a little further, your muscles get a little weaker. And this is even more dangerous if you drink cola, which contains phosphoric acid. This substance causes the body to excrete more calcium through urine. If your diet doesn't contain enough calcium, or if older adults have poor calcium absorption, this can lead to bone loss in the hips and spine, precisely the two areas that need to be strongest for walking and maintaining balance. It doesn't stop there. High sugar levels also stiffen blood vessel walls. Blood vessels, which need to be flexible to deliver blood to every part of the body, lose their elasticity. The consequence is that blood and oxygen don't reach the leg muscles sufficiently, especially when you exert yourself, like climbing hills, walking fast, or simply standing for a long time. This is called PAD, peripheral artery disease, and it silently weakens your leg muscles even if you eat and move normally. You might be thinking, I only drink 1 can a day, it can't be that bad. But in reality, just 1 can of soda, 330 milliliters per day is enough to increase the risk of frailty by 32%, a condition where older adults are prone to fractures, muscle weakness, and reliance on others for daily activities. This is the result of the famous Nurses' Health Study, which tracked over 71,000 American women over 60 for 22 years. Another study, the Framingham Osteoporosis Study, found that women who drank 1 can of cola per day had 3 to 4% lower hip bone density compared to those who didn't drink it, even after accounting for age and BMI. Just a 1-2% decrease in bone density per year after age 60 is enough to increase the risk of fractures when falling. So if you lose 3-4% due to a daily beverage, the consequences are very clear. And if you're thinking, I only like sweet tea, I don't drink soda, please be cautious. An analysis in older Italian adults using the Healthy Beverage Index showed that the sweeter the beverage score, the lower the arm and leg muscle mass. In other words, not just sugar in soda, but any drink with added sugar, whether it's tea, canned fruit juice, or energy drinks, is affecting your muscle strength and mobility. So, how do you know if you're being affected? There are a few subtle but worrying signs: getting out of breath every time you climb stairs, having to stop halfway to catch your breath, or feeling your legs tremble and tire sooner than before, even if you're eating normally. If you often crave cold soda at noon, or feel uncomfortable if you don't have sweet tea after a meal, you might have developed a habit of drinking more sugary beverages than is safe. But the good news is that everything can still change. The solution isn't to cut it out completely, because sudden changes are often unsustainable. Instead, start by limiting your intake to less than 1 can of soda per day and ensure total added sugar from all beverages is under 25 g/day day, equivalent to about 6 teaspoons of sugar. If you're craving something sweet, use sparkling water mixed with a little unsweetened pure juice, about 10 milliliters, or simply drink unsweetened herbal tea. A few slices of cold watermelon or orange after a meal can also satisfy cravings without causing harm. More importantly, don't think that diet soda is a safe solution. Scientists are still debating the impact of artificial sweeteners on muscles and bones. Some studies suggest they can also negatively affect gut microbiota and muscle metabolism. And if you're living with diabetes or have been diagnosed with PAD, peripheral artery disease, it's best to completely avoid sugary drinks. Because each time blood sugar levels spike after drinking soda, blood flow to the muscles decreases for 2 to 3 hours, a long time if you need to be active. Finally, if you absolutely love coffee, choose black coffee without sugar or milk. Because cola not only has sugar but also caffeine and phosphorus, 2 substances that, when combined, cause more calcium loss than coffee. A cup of black coffee in the morning with nothing added is still a much better choice than a slightly sweet soda with deep-seated negative effects. Continuing the journey, we come to culprit number 2, alcohol and beer. When talking about factors affecting leg muscle strength, few people think of that evening glass of wine or a cold beer after a long day. For many, especially after age 60, a little alcohol is seen as a way to relax, sleep easier, or simply an indispensable part of dinner. But the truth is, if used regularly, even just a few drinks a week, alcohol and beer can directly affect muscle strength, balance, and the risk of osteoporosis in older adults. First, understand one important thing. Alcohol is a central nervous system depressant. It not only slows down reflexes, but also directly interferes with how the body builds and maintains muscles, a process medical professionals call alcohol-related muscle loss, or more precisely, alcoholic myopathy. It sounds serious, and it is. In studies tracking long-term alcohol drinkers, doctors noted muscle fiber atrophy, especially in the legs and lower back, which are essential muscle areas for standing steadily, walking, and sitting down, standing up. A 2017 meta-analysis published in Alcohol and Alcoholism showed that even at moderate levels, about 1 to 2 drinks per day, if maintained long-term, alcohol can reduce total muscle mass and decrease strength when getting up from a chair. This risk is higher in women and people over 60 due to slower alcohol metabolism in this age group and the muscle system already beginning to decline with age. Mechanistically, Alcohol disrupts mTOR, which is the central operator that synthesizes muscle protein. When mTOR is inhibited, muscles cannot recover after exercise or daily activities, causing muscle loss to occur faster. Additionally, alcohol also reduces growth hormone and testosterone, two important factors for both men and women to maintain muscle and bone. Not only that, alcohol also directly affects balance and motor control. In older adults, just a small glass of alcohol can prolong reaction time and slow postural adjustments, making you more prone to tripping at night when getting up to use the restroom, or simply losing balance while walking and turning around. A slight feeling of unsteadiness, difficulty standing firm, or mild hand tremors, if they occur after alcohol consumption, are early signs that the nervous system controlling muscles is being affected. Another study published in the Journal of the American Geriatric Society followed over 5,000 people aged 65 and older and found that those who drank alcohol 3 or more times per week had a 1.7 times higher rate of falls and significantly slower recovery after hip fractures. This is a very significant danger because in older adults, a hip fracture can be the starting point of a prolonged chain of functional decline. So what about beer? Many people think beer is lighter than spirits, with less impact, but in reality, beer also contains alcohol. And if consumed heavily or regularly every day, the effects are not much different. A 330 ml can of beer can contain 4 to 6% alcohol, and if you drink 2 to 3 cans every evening, your body still bears a metabolic burden equivalent to wine or cocktails. Besides, beer often contains purines and can increase the risk of gout, one of the causes of leg pain and joint inflammation, making you reluctant to move and gradually losing muscle strength over time. Additionally, alcohol also affects the absorption of calcium and vitamin D, two essential nutrients for healthy bones and strong muscles. Alcohol reduces the liver's production of enzymes that metabolize vitamin D, leading to weaker bones and poorer ability to regenerate joint cartilage, especially in the hips and knees, two important areas for maintaining balance and steady walking. So how do you know if alcohol and beer are affecting your muscle strength? A few simple but easily overlooked signs: feeling difficulty maintaining balance when standing up too quickly, or needing to brace your hand on a chair when sitting down. You might also feel sleepy but still have trouble falling asleep, or wake up multiple times in the night despite having a drink beforehand. These are early indicators of alcohol-related sleep disorders, which cause fatigue the next morning and make it difficult for the body to recover muscles during sleep. If you are taking medication, especially blood pressure medication, osteoporosis medication, or sleeping pills, alcohol becomes even more dangerous, because it can increase side effects or reduce treatment effectiveness, leading to uncontrolled blood pressure, dizziness, and an increased risk of falls when walking. But is alcohol always a culprit and must be completely eliminated? Not necessarily. Nutritionists and geriatricians advise that if you enjoy a small glass of red wine, about 100–150 ml, and only a few times a week after a meal, it can still be part of a healthy lifestyle. If other factors like nutrition, exercise, and sleep are maintained, the important thing is to set clear limits. For people over 60, no more than 1 alcoholic unit per day, meaning 1 small glass of wine or a single can of beer, and not drinking continuously every day. At the same time, always avoid consuming alcohol close to bedtime, as it affects the deep sleep stage, the stage that helps muscles and nerves recover. If you are planning to improve your leg muscle health, especially after age 60, one of the simplest but most effective steps is to gradually reduce your frequency of alcohol and beer consumption, replacing them with mineral water, herbal tea, or unsweetened juice. This will not only help improve muscle strength and balance, but also support better sleep, better calcium absorption, and reduce the risk of fractures. After discussing alcohol and beer, the obvious suspects, easily recognized in daily life, we'll now move on to another culprit, equally dangerous, but much more insidious. It has no taste, no color, no alcohol, and sometimes it even comes from the very absence of something seemingly indispensable in life: water. Sounds illogical? How can someone be dehydrated when surrounded by plenty of drinking water, when there's always a filter faucet at home, when the fridge always has cool water? But the sad reality is, many people over 60 are living in a state of chronic dehydration, completely unaware. The reason stems from a very natural phenomenon. After age 60, the body's sensation of thirst gradually diminishes. The body no longer signals clearly whenever it loses water. You can work, walk, even sweat, but not feel thirsty at all. And so you don't drink enough. If this situation continues day after day, the body will gradually lose the necessary fluids to maintain movement, circulation, and even muscle strength. A study published in the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition showed that losing just 2% of the body's water, which is about 1.2 to 1.5 liters for an adult, can reduce muscle strength by up to 5%, not to mention seriously affecting motor coordination and balance. In other words, even with just a little dehydration, you're more likely to have tired legs, get out of breath, and feel wobbly when you stand up. The problem becomes more serious when it's accompanied by electrolyte deficiency, especially sodium, potassium, and magnesium. These substances act like electrical switches that help muscles contract at the right time, rhythmically. When they are lacking, muscles can cramp abnormally, what we often call muscle cramps, or even temporary loss of strength. Have you ever experienced your legs seizing up painfully while you were sleeping, or your calf suddenly trembling while walking, forcing you to sit down? These could be signals that your body is thirsty and lacking electrolytes without you realizing it. A survey from the National Institute on Aging states that nearly 60% of people over 65 don't meet the recommended daily water intake, and most don't notice any clear signs. This is because dehydration doesn't happen suddenly. It gradually drains strength, like a strong underground current flowing silently. Not only does it cause muscle weakness, but dehydration also reduces blood flow to the extremities, especially the legs, the farthest point from the heart. When blood supply is insufficient, muscles receive less oxygen, fewer nutrients, and recover slower after any activity. That's why many people feel tired faster, experience sore calves after a short walk, or need to hold on to objects to stand up after sitting for a long time. It all starts simply from an unfinished water bottle, a meal without soup, or a day you forget to drink water because you didn't feel thirsty. Another factor that contributes to worsening dehydration is diuretics, blood pressure medications, and various cardiovascular drugs. These are common medications in older adults. They can increase the amount of water and electrolytes lost through urine, making the body more prone to deficiency. However, few people are thoroughly advised by their doctors on how to properly replenish water and electrolytes when using these medications. Therefore, you should proactively ask your doctor or pharmacist about this, especially if you are experiencing dry mouth, tired legs, or night cramps. So how can you improve? The good news is, by simply adjusting a few habits, you can significantly restore muscle strength and reduce the feeling of tired legs. First, don't wait until you're thirsty to drink. After age 60, thirst is no longer a reliable indicator. Divide your water intake evenly throughout the day. For example, drink a small glass every 1 to 2 hours, or use a water bottle with markings to track your intake. If you don't like drinking plain water because it tastes bland, you can replace it with unsweetened herbal tea, diluted juice, or fresh lemon water diluted with a few slices of cucumber. Additionally, eating juicy fruits like watermelon, oranges, or strawberries is a very effective way to naturally supplement water, and also provides vitamin C to help reduce inflammation and benefit joints. A small but useful tip: every morning after waking up, drink a 200 ml glass of warm water before doing anything else. This is when the body loses the most water through breathing at night, and it's when water is needed to kickstart the circulatory and nervous systems. After that, continue drinking water throughout the day, especially before and after light activities like walking, gardening, or practicing yoga. What about electrolytes? For people without kidney disease, you can lightly supplement through natural foods like bananas, rich in potassium, pumpkin seeds, rich in magnesium, and leafy greens, rich in natural calcium and sodium. There's no need for bottled electrolyte drinks that contain a lot of sugar and artificial colors. The natural way is still the safest. And most importantly, listen to your body. If you frequently feel tired at the end of the day, or experience cramps at night, or feel slightly dizzy when standing up, then suspect the possibility of dehydration. Don't rush to blame it on age or the weather, because sometimes a simple change like drinking enough water and eating enough electrolytes is what helps you stand steadier, walk further, and sleep better every day. We've just discussed a hidden culprit, dehydration, a condition common in older adults but very difficult to self-diagnose. However, there's a group of people for whom all the risks we've discussed so far, from soda and alcohol to dehydration, can compound, making already weak legs even more prone to losing balance, declining in function, and risking falls and fractures at any time. And that group is none other than those living with underlying health conditions, especially diabetes, osteoporosis, peripheral artery disease, PAD, or those being treated with multiple medications simultaneously. For people with diabetes, sugary drinks, soda, and energy drinks, even if used a little every day, can still cause significant blood sugar fluctuations, leading to nerve damage in the legs, causing numbness, burning, or loss of sensation, and weakening of small blood vessels that nourish muscles, slowing down recovery after every step. Numerous studies have shown that diabetics who drink soda daily have twice the risk of rapid leg function decline compared to those who don't drink it, regardless of how well they control their blood sugar. As for people with osteoporosis, especially postmenopausal women, alcoholic beverages and sugary drinks containing phosphoric acid, like cola, accelerate bone loss in the hips and thighs, areas that bear weight every time you stand up or walk. A small glass of wine every day, if consumed regularly, can still cause a significant decrease in bone density in just 1 to 2 years, and when hip bones are weak, even a slight fall is enough to cause an irreparable fracture. A more dangerous, less noticed factor is drug interactions. People over 60 often have to take 2 to 5 medications daily, including blood pressure medication, sleeping pills, pain relievers, statins for high cholesterol, anti-inflammatory drugs, and blood thinners. When these medications interact with alcohol, caffeine, or high sugar levels in beverages, the consequences occur not only in the liver and kidneys, but also in the nervous and musculoskeletal systems. For example, caffeine in soda or sweet tea can increase the effect of diuretics, making you urinate more, thereby losing water and electrolytes faster without realizing it. The consequence? Feeling tired, trembling legs, or even dizziness and falls after standing up suddenly. Another example is statins, which are common for people with high cholesterol. If taken with alcohol, they can increase the risk of muscle damage, causing widespread muscle pain, weakness, and even severe muscle inflammation in older adults. Many patients feel leg fatigue for no clear reason, and it turns out the culprit is a silent side effect of the medication when combined with an evening glass of wine. Not to mention sleeping pills, a very common group of medications for older adults with insomnia, if used with alcohol, even in small amounts, can amplify the sedative effect, causing loss of balance when getting up at night, or slowing down reflexes during a fall, increasing the risk of fractures. Those undergoing treatment with multiple medications simultaneously, also known as polypharmacy, need to be especially cautious. Because when 3 or 4 types of medication are used together, the likelihood of interactions with a seemingly harmless component in beverages, like caffeine, alcohol, or high sodium in soda, increases exponentially. It's no longer a simple matter of a little of each is fine. What's the problem? Most of these interactions don't cause immediate symptoms. You don't have a heart attack after a beer. You don't sweat or have seizures after a can of soda. But the cumulative effect of these regular drinking habits is the gradual decline in leg strength, the loss of balance when climbing stairs, the unsteadiness every time you get out of bed in the morning. Therefore, if you are using any medication daily, whether prescription or over the counter, Boldly ask your doctor or pharmacist, which beverages should I avoid? Don't be afraid. No one understands the risk of interactions better than the person who prescribed your medication. And no one takes better care of you than your own proactive self. A simple tip to avoid unintended interactions is make a list of all the medications you're taking, including vitamins, supplements, eye drops, herbal sleeping pills, then ask a healthcare professional if there are any beverages you should avoid. This only takes 10 minutes, but it can help you maintain your stability with every step for many years to come. Finally, for those with underlying health conditions, the advice is not just to reduce soda intake or drink less alcohol, but to understand what state your body is in, what medications you're taking, and what additional burden each type of beverage you consume will add to your health. From there, every daily sip will no longer be a habitual action, but a conscious choice to protect your legs and your independent life. What we've just discussed is not to scare you or make you afraid every time you pick up a glass of water. The goal is to clearly see. Not all drinks are innocent, and some things, if consumed daily, will have a long-term impact on leg strength, balance, and the risk of falls. So how do you turn the tide without losing the joy of enjoyment? How can you worry less but still live comfortably? The answer doesn't lie in prohibition, but in 3 gentle but effective redirecting steps, supplementing what has been mentioned before. Step 1. No need to quit immediately, just change a part. Previously, we clearly analyzed the potential harms of soda, sweet tea, alcohol, and dehydration. Now the important thing is to transform them little by little so that both your body and taste buds can adapt. If you were used to drinking soda every lunchtime, try reducing it to 3 times a week, and on the other days, switch to lightly sparkling water, unsweetened iced tea, or diluted juice. For those with a habit of a light alcoholic drink in the evening, instead of eliminating it immediately, you can switch to chamomile tea, peppermint tea, or goji berry tea, drinks that not only help you relax but also support sleep without affecting any medications you are taking. Quitting completely is difficult, but cutting back by half is something you can do this week. Step 2. Drink enough water, at the right time, the right way. Regarding water and electrolyte intake, we already know the mechanisms and consequences. Here, we'll just add one important point. Water is not just about how much, but also when and how. You shouldn't wait until you're thirsty to drink, because after age 60, the sensation of thirst is no longer accurate. Instead, divide your water into 6 to 8 small portions throughout the day. About 150 to 200 milliliters each time is enough. Drink 1 glass of water first thing in the morning after waking up, and a glass before going out for a walk to avoid sudden drops in blood pressure when standing up. If you often experience cramps or dizziness, try adding a pinch of mineral salt or drinking diluted coconut water 2-3 times a week. A simple way to replenish electrolytes without needing to buy pills. Use a water bottle with hourly markings, e.g. 8 a.m., 10 a.m., 12 p.m., 2 p.m., to remind you to drink water regularly, avoiding large amounts in the evening that can cause nighttime urination. Step 3. Rebuild leg strength from the ground up. Exercise and supplement at the right time. The impact of harmful beverages primarily lies in gradually weakening muscles, causing loss of balance and reducing endurance. To reverse that, in addition to reducing harmful substances, you need to rebuild the foundation for muscles and bones. For those with muscle weakness and loss of strength, especially after long periods of alcohol consumption or prolonged bed rest, 3 to 5 g of creatine daily, through food or powdered form, can significantly help improve motor function. This is one of the few substances that has been thoroughly researched and is safe for older adults when used at the correct dosage. Although the mechanism of calcium loss due to soda has been mentioned, the solution needs emphasis. Regularly check your vitamin D levels, especially if you have little sun exposure. If deficient, supplement as directed. Most people over 65 need 800 to 2,000 IU day. And if someone loses weight and becomes weaker after quitting alcohol, due to the loss of calories previously provided by alcohol, Then lightly increase protein from eggs, fish, Greek yogurt to avoid reducing alcohol, reducing strength. Since light exercises were mentioned in the previous section, here I just want to say, if you get tired when standing for a long time, start by practicing sit to stands 5 times a day. If you easily lose balance, hold onto a chair and just lift one leg off the floor for 10 seconds per side. That's enough to activate core leg muscles. Try to change one choice this week. Maybe it's a glass of herbal tea in the evening or adding a warm glass of water in the morning. Your legs will thank you. Every day, we hold at least 3 to 5 glasses of liquid in our hands, but not every glass nourishes the body. Some sweet glasses are silently taking away your leg's strength, like soda, alcohol, or seemingly healthy bottled tea. A can of soda can stiffen blood vessels, a glass of wine late at night can cause muscles to atrophy little by little, and a day of dehydration, even if you don't feel thirsty, is enough to make your legs tired when climbing stairs. Remember the 3 groups of drinks, 3 dangerous mechanisms, causing inflammation, depleting minerals, impairing balance. The solution isn't prohibition, but smart change. Gradually reduce, replace correctly, drink enough, at the right time, the right way. Because every glass of water you choose today could be what helps you step more firmly tomorrow. Freedom doesn't come from grand things. It starts with the right glass of water, a small sip of change. Are you drinking things that are slowly weakening you? If so, try changing just 1 glass a day. See what happens in a week, a month. You'll feel the difference in your own legs, steadier, less tired, and daring to go further. And if you've experienced that or are starting to make changes, please share in the comments below. Perhaps your story will inspire someone who's hesitating. Wishing you a light day and a steady step starting today.